proudest day, and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Crunching Gears, the Rally podcast. The 2025 season has continued to fly in, Connor, and we're getting towards the end. Championships are getting wrapped up with the final two rounds of two championships last weekend, the BRC and the Creighton National Championship. And what can we say about the BRC? Another winner from the MI Rally Academy.
Yeah, look, absolutely fantastic for Will and Liam to wrap up the championship. And again, went down to the wire, and we love that in a championship. You want to, like, I know it's added pressure for the lads, but you really do want to see it going to, the whole way. The last thing you want is a championship wrapping up, 2/3 of the way through. And they did what they needed to do, finished fourth, fantastic, clinched the title. But it was a great event and some serious competition from Max McRae.
Yeah, it was great to see Max getting his first one at that level now as well too, so that's fantastic. And then we also look back at the Fastnet Rally, and that man of the moment, Michael Boyle, took another one. And, then Matthew got his first podium as well, and his first fastest time too. So I do think Matthew is the common guy in the Irish Rally, and I think next year we could see a one or two coming there as well. And I think that Boyle 1, 2, 3 is coming as well.
I'll say per Daniel Cronin was the meat in that Boyle sandwich between Michael and Matthew. All right,
that is for sure. Yeah. So I suppose, well, first of all, who we're going to hear from in this episode then is we're going to first of all hear from our new champions, Will and Liam from the Cambrian Rally, won the BRC, and we'll also hear from Max McRae as well. And then we're finally going to hear from Patrick McHugh, his thoughts on the Fastnet Rally and his new Darrian too. So that's a lovely interview as well too. But yeah, what can we say? Will and Liam, we've spoke to them now for how many years? It must be 5 or 6 years, 5 years anyway, I suppose. And we've had some great times with them, and another milestone for them now.
Yeah, look, absolutely fantastic. Started out as junior British Rally champions, then junior World Rally champions, and now to take the British Rally champion title. And they came close to it last year, like it really was. It was between themselves and Chris Ingram last year, and for them to clinch it this year, it's been absolutely fantastic for them. And again, like the Toyota Yaris and the Melvin Evans, motorsport team, absolutely phenomenal combination.
That's for sure. They keep on one, like we'd say during the interview, like they can win in Ireland, they've won in the UK, like that now I think is 3 or 4 times now they've won the BRC title, just an absolute testament to that team. And then Max McRae, we know the talent Max has, and it's great to see it all finally coming together for him. Switched to the Skoda now for that event now as well too. It just seems to make a huge difference there too. So, but Will and Liam, whatever now, 11 years they've been together, what a combination the two guys are, and they just seem to be getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, look, it's a great partnership. It works so well. Really does. Like the two of them just are perfect for each other. And whether you see them professionally working in the car, or when we get to chat to them off camera and stuff, like the bit of crack, the bit of banter between them, but they get on so well, and it is a well-oiled machine, and the results that they're clocking up, it's just incredible. Like I'm excited to see, and we don't know yet, but I'm excited to see what's coming down the line, next year.
Yeah, and they are the real poster boys for what can be achieved. Starting out in Junior 1000 and going right up through, winning the junior, the junior BRC, the Junior World Championship, and now the BRC. That is what everybody starting out in the sport aspires to. So we caught up with them, and Connor, you started out by saying to them, first you've won the JBRC, then the JWRC, now you've won the BRC. So is it the World Championship coming up next? Let's hear from the boys.
Yeah, that's what my dad actually said to me whenever we got to the finish line. There's only one more to go now. Just might take a few more years than these other championships have taken, but Yeah, it's whenever you read it out there, it's pretty cool, and for Liam and I to have achieved all those together is makes it even more cool. So, um, yeah, the weekend was about trying to get round. We had a good year up until that point and had good, strong results, consistent results. Um, so I'm glad that we were able to. It's more relief than anything, able to get around and no problems with the car, no silly mistakes from our side, and it was a smooth rally. And we've now done it. We've won the championship. So job well done.
And
And Liam, from your point of view, we've talked before about the heritage from the BRC. To have your name now up with those legends of the sport, that must be a very special feeling for you.
Yeah, very special on Saturday at the finish ramp. We took a couple of minutes to try and hold the trophy up, and read the names. But the thing's that heavy and there's a lot of names, so it's quite difficult. But to join the list of previous winners, it's yeah, it's unbelievable. Keith Cronin's obviously won it, Billy Coleman's won it, and Daniel McKenna's won it. From an Irish point of view, we're the first crew from Northern Ireland to win the British Championship. So we're proud of that as well. But yeah, it's when you read back through the names, it's very special. Like I first started following the British Rally Championship back in the mid-90s when a guy called Steve Wedgbury was doing it in a Skoda, and my uncle Ian was co-driving for him. And it was the Stena Sea Link Ulster Rally. It came to Belfast. So obviously I'm from Belfast. It was at the City Hall. Gwyndaff coming in the Maxi Escort, and Tapsa and the McGann, and Robbie Head, and Al, Max's dad, in the golf, like, just to make me feel really old. So, I first caught the bug of the British Championship in the mid-90s in the F2 era. So yeah, going back to what you said, to have your name on the trophy, having watched these boys and all those years ago, it's fairly special.
Yeah, because well, it's been a part of your development as well. Like early doors, like once you were like a fully no longer a junior driver, you were up there. It was over to the BRC, and you wanted to compare yourself with the best, and that's at that time the BRC was that place to go.
Yeah, the junior BRC was the first move outside of Ireland that we did, and like, I can remember that really really feels like it wasn't that long ago that we decided we'll do it, and at that point it was a huge jump, to go outside of home to go rallying, and you know we've just built up to this place, and we've been in a position this year. Well, we came so close last year. Then this year we were lucky enough to compete in the championship again, and then you win a rally, and then you're in a good place in the championship, and you just keep building in that. And so whenever you win it at the end of the year, it because you've been building up to that point, it just happens and it feels normal. But if I go back to whenever we were in the junior BRC, and if you told me and my dad then and Liam that we'd be back in a top line car and we're going to win the championship, I don't know what we would have said to you back then, but it would have seemed like a lot. So yeah, it's very cool, and even hearing Liam there, the passion that he has for the championship. My dad, I'm sure he can't really believe what we've achieved. For me, it means a lot as well. All those names on that trophy are very special, and I just love driving the Rally 2 cars, and particularly on rallies there at the weekend on classic GB stages. It's so much fun, and the cars are very special to drive. So of course it would have been nice just to be in a position there at the weekend where you could get stuck in and really try and have a move. But with that hanging over your head, we couldn't really put too much on the line. So, but I was still happy with our speed, and okay, the end of the day, like I was saying before we came on, just trying to manage it whenever the rain came down and the ruts started to fill with water. Yeah, I don't think I could have lived with it if I made a mistake or something had happened at that point of the rally. But up until the middle of the rally, we had nice speed, and we were in a comfortable pace, and the car really works well in those conditions on gravel. So it was still a really enjoyable weekend.
And Liam, like Will mentioned last year, and that the disappointment must have been tough last year. You came so close. How did that experience shape your approach to this year, both mentally and maybe strategically as well?
Yeah, it was tough, last year. We didn't make too many mistakes. Okay, we spun on the second last stage, but to be honest, I mean, Chris drove really well last year. Chris and Alex Carani, they deserved that championship. They didn't make many mistakes, so we didn't feel as if we were hard done by. It was one of those things last year, but whenever you're competing with people like Chris Ingram, Keith Cronin, these are top line drivers, so we can learn, and we did learn so much. I mean, it was actually Mikey Galvin sent me a nice message on Saturday evening, and I said, "Look, we both learned a lot off you and Keith, so thanks very much." And yeah, look, last year was tough. We took away the positives, and we knew from last year that you needed rally wins to win the championship, so we set out to achieve more of that this year. And we started off well in round one, racing Keith. Like, I remember when we were in the juniors, we looked up to Keith Cronin because he was the man. Like, I mean, anybody who was anywhere close to Keith was doing a good job, in our opinion. So the year started off well. Okay, Keith was in the Citroen, and he was obviously getting used to that as we were with the Toyota. But yeah, we knew the differences between this year and last year had to be a few rally wins. And like even from Ceredigion, William said there, we had to sort of be careful in Cambrian. We were careful in Ceredigion. We've been running 2 spare wheels in this car for about 4 competitive days here. Just trying to make sure we didn't drop any scores because we already had a drop score. So it would have been nice to go after the rally wins in Ceredigion and Cambrian, but we'll have to use our head. We've been doing this together since 2014. We know when to push and when not to, and when to use our head. So thankfully, the whole thing worked well there last weekend.
And Liam, as a co-driver, how are you managing that pressure inside the car? When it is all down to the final event, and you're balancing that title fight with that, as you say, that need to avoid making mistakes.
Honestly, having been through the whole process of the Junior World Championship, Saturday was fine. As long as the car was good, which it always has been. Myself and William have a process now after all these years, and we applied the process to this year. We applied the process to that rally, and it was executed the way we wanted to. We were in a bit of a pressure cooker in 23 in Greece whenever we had an overheating problem with the junior WRC car. That was pressure. That's we were up against it that day. And honestly, after that, I don't think anything can come close pressure-wise. So, obviously, William's a bit older and I'm a bit older now too. So we just applied the process. We've built up a lot of experience. We're very lucky to be in the position we're in. Even going into the last stage, we got out. I checked the tire pressures. William had a walk around to make sure everything was okay. We'll get back in. It was difficult on Saturday because every time we went to the start line, we had to sit on the line for 10 minutes to let the 1500s go through. So that was like 6 or 7 stages there at the weekend where you're just sitting waiting for this thing to go. So that was that was tricky. You're just sitting wanting to go and get through the stage. But no, we've learned plenty, and yeah, you balance the pressure with the need to get the result for William and myself and for the academy and for everybody who supports us.
Yeah, because it's not just 2 guys in the car. It is this whole team, like between the academy. You talked about your dad, family. It's all there, and it all lands down then to the 2 guys in the car going into that last stage, and you put the process in place. You forget about all that, do you? And it's just get down this bit of road here now.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people invested in the program, and I said at the finish line of the British Championship last year, I was raging because I never knew when we might get in a position to fight for a British Championship again. So to get to the start line this year, to know that we have that championship ahead of us, is a huge, job in its own right. And that's down to all the people that are supporting me, like you said, from the academy who have been on the journey from the first junior BRC win then to the World Championship and everything since then. So to have the backing of them and their full support is how it makes it all possible. And then, of course, for Castrol, the move to Melvin Evans carrying such an iconic livery, it was all arranged quite last minute, and it fell together, and we found ourselves there. And then, of course, I had to miss a rally as well. So, how do you start, a championship campaign knowing that you're going to miss a round? That was quite difficult mentally, and trying to, think, how do we approach the year now? We had to go fast to win rallies, but if we had one DNF, that was the whole job out the window. So that was a challenge, but also good in a way because it taught us that, how to drive fast without making mistakes whenever we needed to. So there's a positive side, and we tried to spin it on its head and use it as a positive. But Yeah, look, so many people involved in the program, so that's why it makes it all the sweeter whenever we can do a good job and get the result to reward everybody. And there's a lot of people back home as well that support me and that are following me that aren't necessarily on the car. Um, so it's it makes it a sweet story, I guess. Yeah, it's a big kudos to everybody that has been involved, not just Liam and I that are inside the car.
Yeah, and Liam, you talked earlier about the heritage and all that there. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, like on Twitter especially. Like, there's a post coming up with your car, and it's like Japanese writing, and it's obviously a celebration. That's the power of Toyota, the power of Castrol. This is taking the BRC globally, and it's just two guys at front and center of all that.
Yeah, I did see that actually. It came up. It was tagged in the Japanese post or whatever it was. This whole thing came about when I was pulling up to the house here one evening, and Marion rang me, and he said, "I have a proposition here for you. Can you run it past William?" So about 20 minutes later, I think William was speaking to Melvin. But that Castrol livery is so iconic. I mean, actually, Austin McHugh, is for us Irish people. Austin McHugh was the one with the Castrol livery. Not to mention Didier Auriol and Carlos Sainz, obviously, in WRC. But I was even going to go with, take the peak of my helmet off so it replicated Austin's Peltor. He's there on no peak. But to be in a Toyota with Castrol, and Castrol have obviously been very good this year with the whole MAM team as well. It's really special, actually. So, see, whenever you're dealing with big brands like TGR, Toyota Gazoo Racing and Castrol, and the experience of Melvin's team, you need components like that all in the right place, and whenever it is right like that, obviously the results, as you can see this year, can come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like we've seen, well, what Melvin Evans can do. Like, he can come to Ireland and won. They can win the BRC. Like, for a small-ish family-run outfit, they're probably the best of the best.
Yeah, I mean they've been very good to me this year, and like Liam said, it was sort of organised quite last minute, and it didn't take long to twist my arm and get me involved in the program whenever Melvin rang. So they run a very professional outfit, and they've got a great relationship there with Toyota, and obviously Castrol that has allowed this all to happen. And I think they've won the last 4 BRC championships out of the last 5. So even that speaks volumes in its own right. So. Yeah, I've loved working with the team. I've known Marion and Melvin for a number of years, working with them this year, and it was always, Marion was always my competitor. So to now be in a team with them, it was we've got to know them that little bit more, and it's been good fun. And all the guys, from the number one mechanics to the engineers that have helped us along the way, and Marion and Melvin themselves, it's been great.
Yeah, because it's more than it's more to them than just running the car. It's their passion. As you said earlier about Liam's, you hear the passion and he spoke there. Like, whenever you talk to Melvin and Marion, they live, breathe every day rally.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Melvin's like the Welsh version of Davy Greer, who I've worked with for a number of years back home, and they've got a lot of similarities. They love to go rallying, and they do a good job whenever they organise it. So, yeah, and with Marion competing in the same team as well, we're able to bounce things off each other, and he had experience of some of the stages and car digging and stuff like that, and he can help me, and then when it comes to another rally where maybe I've done, we can help each other. So that was good as well. So no, it's been a good fun working with everyone in the team all year. And I think Melvin was as delighted that we won the championship as we were. It means a lot to him as well to have one of his cars on the top step of the podium.
And Liam, we mentioned the academy, and we think of the youngsters that are following in your footsteps. Does it strike you and Will that you are role models, that you are the example of what can be achieved?
Yeah, well, I've never really thought of it like that, but I mean, it shows that it's achievable. Okay, we know the work that John and Sean are putting into this academy, but I just think these days, in the modern world, I think we're moving away from actually the results. There's a lot about social media. There's a lot about fitness. Are you mentally fit? Are you this? Are you that? But you got to remember, it's down to results too. Like, and we are showing that results are important and they are achievable. Now it takes so much work and it takes a lot of long hours doing things that going down a path that you never thought you'd go down, going into the detail. Like I mentioned earlier, we learned from Keith. We also learned from our first year in the JWRC. We learned from John Armstrong. When we arrived in JWRC, John was the man. And it just shows you, these people raise your level, and you've got to go some places that you never think that you'd have to go down to get there. So yeah, I mean, and William has been helping the next generation, as we talked about before we come on. There is other Irish drivers coming through, and that's what the academy's all about for John and Sean, obviously. So yeah, but we're proud to be flying the flags of the academy. We're proud to bring back another championship to the academy, and we're obviously more than happy to help the next generation as well.
Yeah, because like when you look around and see like John Armstrong, like what an end to the season he had, and like with a fair one, he could have been ERC champion. Like Josh in the World Championship, like I think he's excelled. Like, and it's like for his first year stepping up to that level, fantastic. Eamon Kelly won in Finland. Like Liam, we can remember a few years ago that if somebody wanted to compete in a round of the World Championship, we thought this was a major achievement. Like, this is a real purple patch.
I can remember, I know that's directed at William there, but I can remember Stephen Finlay doing the Acropolis Rally. I think maybe Mark Fisher did it, and seeing their name on teletext. I know I sound like a dinosaur here, but seeing their name on teletext, and you thought, there's a couple of boys from home.
Yeah.
And now basically we have like drivers from home in every category. And of course, you have so much more media now to follow them on, but it's pretty special, and sorry, I know that was directed at William there and I jumped in with an old man story.
No, you hit the nail on the head. It's you look at an ERC entry list or a WRC entry list now, and if you don't see an Irish name on it, it's you're thinking what's going on. So and that's down to the academy. They've reshaped that the whole system for younger drivers, giving them an opportunity to show their talent on a European or world stage. So we've been lucky to take advantage of that and fly the flag, as Liam said. So there's plenty of younger guys coming through there, and there's going to be talent. And Liam and I just got to keep working to make sure that we're still faster than any of the guys coming through, which I'm sure will be difficult at the best of times. But no, and I'm more than happy to be involved with the guys who are coming through there. That if any of my experiences, I can lend that to them to really stop them making the mistakes maybe that I made along the way and fast track the process, then I'm more than happy to do so.
And I suppose like it's that time of the year again, we're already starting to look forward to 2026. Is there anything in place yet, or is it all kind of just enjoy the moment for now?
I think it's the worst time of the year at the end of one season trying to plan for the next. But look, it's exciting whenever you come off the end of the year with a championship win. It makes speaking to anyone to try and arrange something or a program for the next year that little bit easier. But it's still very difficult. We haven't got anything in place and no real direction yet. But over the next couple of weeks and months, definitely there'll be a lot of work from my side trying to see what's possible out there. It's we don't want to be sitting at home now. We want to use this momentum to try and build another program off the back of it. Where that will be, I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be busy over the next couple of weeks now, trying to see what options are out there.
Fantastic to hear from our champions. Congratulations again, William and Liam. Absolutely delighted for you both. And now let's hear from the winner of the event, Max McRae.
Yeah, it was a really good day. And like you said, first time in the Skoda, so it was pretty refreshing to see after such a up and down year more or less. So yeah, we only really got a 25 kilometer test before the event, which was thankfully quite representative with the rain and the mud. But yeah, it was a really good event. We're feeling comfortable from the start. So yeah.
Yeah, and they weren't ideal conditions to learn a new car either. Every stage, every condition possible was thrown at you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect great conditions when you go to Wales, especially at the time that the Cambrian always is. But yeah, we kind of just had to grab the bull by the horns and kind of not go for it in the first stage, but we had to try explore the car as quick as we could because it's only a 7-stage rally. So if you lose 20 seconds in the first stage, then you're going to struggle to catch that back up over the next 6 stages. So Yeah, we just had to kind of explore it as quick as we could.
Yeah, and there was an incident before you guys even got onto the stage. So the first stage was cancelled. Like, do you be all wired up, and then suddenly that rug's pulled from under you? And do you have to G yourself up again, or is that the adrenaline already keep flowing?
I think it was okay because I know most years there's always a delay at this first stage of the Cambrian, whether it's fog or weather or an incident ahead. But we had the two-wheel drive car starting in front of us, so we kind of knew there'd be some delays. So we actually, when there was a delay, we used the opportunity to just go through the notes on the video just while we were sitting there, because it was absolutely, well, it wasn't chucking down rain, but it was Welsh conditions, so it wasn't far away. So. But yeah, we checked the notes, and then, as I expected, they put us through a convoy through the stage, and then you just instantly think to the next stage. So in a way, it is a bit of a adrenaline up and then down, but you always kind of expect it when you're in the first stage of a rally like that behind the two-wheel drive cars.
And that's the good thing, I suppose, with the BRC. You just get a chance to recce the gravel stages as well too, and even the drive-through. I suppose you're still looking at it and seeing if there's anything that's changed since you've done the recce, and you're just always looking if you can cut in here, or can you change that note or anything. Is that always an ongoing process?
Yeah, we went through the notes when we were doing the convoy through. So Cam just read the notes as he would, and we didn't change anything because the notes were quite good anyway. But if there is something that you've seen that could catch you out, then you can put it in if the stage is the same next year. So yeah, you just kind of do that as a protocol just to make sure, and then that gives you a bit of confidence going to the next stage, knowing that the notes are good. Because obviously, if you've got one stage of good notes, then you can attack on that.
Yeah, and it has been the ERC, you said, it's been a year of ups and downs, but the BRC has been lots of positives there. You get your first stage one, your first podium, and now your first one. So you have to be more than happy with that year so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've shown good pace on tarmac and gravel. Obviously, it's not the circumstances we wanted, but we did get a podium at the Jim Clark, but obviously it was unfortunately cancelled. But yeah, we've had 3 podiums this year in the BRC out of 6 rounds. So yeah, it's been up and down, but of course there's a lot of positives, and of course a second place with a good performance at Grampian, and then obviously the win in the Cambrians. Yeah, just good way to top it off.
Yeah, because there's not massive numbers in the BRC, but the quality at the top of the field is whenever you're racing Wall, Creighton, Romat, Jurgensen, and guys like that there, you have to bring your A game to the race.
Yeah, there's no short of competition, especially like you said with Romat and William. It's both defending junior world champions, but it's you got to, especially with such short rallies, you can't, like I said before, you can't be a slouch on the first stage, because then you just lose all your time. So you got to be pretty flat out, and I think I don't know if Romat thought that as well, but I'd say he was saying that the pace was very high this weekend at the Cambrian. So no one's ever going to come into any rally they do and try and not drive flat out. So I think the pace is obviously very high.
Yeah, and for you to be able to compare yourself to the likes of Wall and Romat and all that has to give you good confidence that you've shown pace on the ERC, but unfortunately there's been a few dramas and one thing and another. That you have the pace, and it's just a matter of pulling it all together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the ERC, we've still showing the pace, but we've just struggled a little bit with just being comfortable in the car and with the new rallies, and you just have to go so flat out in these rallies. But I think towards the end of the year, we're coming into our own, but then unfortunately we didn't get to do the last 2 rounds of the ERC. But yeah, I mean, we've been within a second per K, only half a second a K, with the top guys in gravel in the ERC, and like Poland and Sweden, but we just didn't really get a chance on tarmac too much. But we've shown it in the BRC, and especially with a performance like that, it definitely just shows that we absolutely can do it.
Yeah, and your good friend and probably housemate almost, John Armstrong too. Has he been a help as well to help you to settle in and find your pace as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always sending John on board, and he's helped with some stuff with pace notes, and even chatting with him before the Cambrian with pace notes, because I tried to change quite a lot with my pace notes just to simplify them a little bit before the Cambrian. So yeah, we just generally chat about things. I wouldn't say he's not mentoring me, but he's bounce off him for some ideas, and obviously he's got twice the experience as me, so anything that he say, I'll always something to learn off, you know.
Mm-hmm. And like another man that's new to the camp this year, Cameron Fair too. He has spent a year with John, and the experience that he's bringing as well to the table, that must be a great help for you as well.
Yeah, obviously they won the ERC 3 championship in was it 2023, I think. Yeah, but yeah, he's the same with him. He's got twice the experience as me, and then he's always kind of, we go bouncing off each other for ideas, and he helps me as much as he can. And then I think obviously this weekend, me and him really clicked together. Not that we haven't before, but you know, the new pace notes that we're using really just seemed to work, and it was just had a really nice rhythm. It was just one of those rare rallies that from the start it just feels like it's working, you know.
For sure, yeah. And I suppose before we finish up, maybe look back a wee bit too. You had Goodwood and the McRae stages, and like a celebration for the whole family. It must have been very special just to see, you know, how highly regarded the McRae family name is in rallying circles and beyond, I suppose, really.
Yeah, it's very special. It kind of surprises you every year when you go to Goodwood or like the McRae Challenge, especially the McRae Challenge is a bit in particular. There was two girls that got the chance to sit in Colin's championship winning car, L55 Bat, and they were just bawling their eyes out sitting in it, just crying so much. And yeah, when that happens, you're like, well, yeah, you kind of realize again the impact that the family name has on the sport and motorsport in general, you know.
Yeah, and like, never mind Colin, your grandfather turned 82 yesterday, and the man, he's still like one of those guys. He's just an ambassador for the rallying and all that's good in the sport. Yeah,
it was 82 yesterday, so I think the Cambrian Rally was a good present for him, but I had to pick him up a wee whiskey as well because he can't. He loves a glass of whiskey.
What better way to do it? And like, you know, a lot of people to thank for making this year happen for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. Gramps is always supporting me, and he comes to every rally that he can, and you have to pull him away from the car because he'll be under the arch just scraping the mud off it, and you have to pull him away from it. But even at the Cambrian, he was in chase car going to the end of each stage and making sure everything's all right. So yeah, he's 82, but he's still as crazy as he was before when he was driving.
Excellent. And like, I suppose at this time of the year we're starting to look forward to 2026 already. It's hard to believe, but like, I suppose a lot of people as mid 2025 happen. I suppose you'd like to thank them before you even start thinking about 26.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had so many good supporters this year. Like Weir Tools, MRF, Dirtfish, there's the whole list of them. But yeah, I can't thank them all enough. It's been an up and down year, but for them to stick with us the whole time, and especially to now when we've putting the proper results in, it means a lot. And then hopefully we can keep going up with them next year, and then we'll sort of plan for what's best for them and best for us, and hopefully you can make some returns in the UK and Ireland. I like to do the British Championship again, and obviously European Championship is another big thing, and then I'd love to be in the World Championship at some point, whether that will be next year or the coming years, I don't know, but yeah, I'd like to hopefully be looking at that at some point.
So thanks very much to Max there, and fingers crossed we see a lot more of him next year and for many years to come. Fastnet last weekend, horrible weather conditions, but unfortunately Declan Boyle, he got caught out in the very first stage, but like, I think if he hadn't got caught out, somebody else was going to get caught out. It was one of those just real tricky conditions. But Matthew come third, great result for him. Daniel Cronin, we've seen how much bad luck he has had this year to finally see it all come together and getting a strong second. But we said before, the man of the moment, like Michael Boyle and Dermot McCaffrey, that's Michael's third one now in a row. It's phenomenal, really, as you know. It's like waiting for buses. You wait for one and then three come along at once. So yeah, fantastic. And then the two-wheel drive, Barry Morris took the two-wheel drive one. The man in second then was Patrick McHugh and his Darrian. We're going to hear a wee bit more from him in a few minutes. And then in third was Chris Armstrong. Chris taking the two-wheel drive title there as well too. So that was a really strong result. The two Barrys, Barry McLaughlin, Barry McBride in the Class 13 Escort, like another phenomenal result. Brian Brady was in the mix, but unfortunately he had a few mechanical issues, but he still took the Class 13 title award as well there too. So those Class 13 guys are really pushing hard. But let's hear from Patrick McHugh, his thoughts on the Fastnet and his new Darrian.
No, we seem to be adapting well to it now. You know, we done the Fastnet there after the car 20, and we were kind of fairly, the pace was fairly decent again now, so it was. So yeah, no, adapting well to the car now, loving it now. It's just still a bit of learning to do in it, but you know, it was definitely worth the wait. So it was. It took a wee while to build it, like, but you know, no, loving the car now.
Yeah, and like you know, what is the major differences between it and the Mark II? Like, is it like a completely different animal to drive?
Look, it's still rear wheel drive. It's demanding, like, you know, they'll go sideways at any minute you want them to, like, you know. But I think probably the way they're set up, like corner speed's a big thing on them now. You know, they're so stable in the corners, like where the Mark II would have been slightly floaty, like she'd be leaning on that. Like the Darrian would be very stable that way. Obviously, we've bigger brakes. You can brake a bit later. What else did I notice about it? Yeah, I suppose they're slightly bit lighter, like as well. They're fairly responsive on the throttle as well now. Yeah, the whole car would be slightly different now. I actually love it now. I just love the whole way they are set up. But you have to watch them probably a wee bit of the muck and the wet as they're lighter in the front, but they don't push them that. But that's all in the learning.
Yeah, and the bigger brakes, I suppose that it's having the faith that, you know, you've probably already thought you couldn't brake any later when you're in the Mark II, and then now to have the faith now you can leave it that wee fraction later now as well.
Yeah, no, definitely the brakes is a big thing there. So like I couldn't. I was probably at the Fastnet. I wasn't braking as deep, you know, what the conditions has been. You know, they've been kind of wet and mixed all day, but the car 20 on the Sunday was slightly dry, and it opened my eyes what they can do in the, like, I don't know what the limit at is, 127 or 128, but like I was going down to the 100 board, like, you know, and maybe past it, like at times, like, you know, and she was just on her nose. So I was shocked. I was in the park in the middle of the stage. Geez, these brakes are unreal. But no, the braking's a big thing there, so it is.
And you know, they do, as you say, like a very stable car, and they're that wee bit wider too, and they have a bigger footprint, and I suppose that helps in that kind of choppier stuff then as well.
They are, but that's the only bit I am probably getting. It's taking a wee while to get used to the width of it. Like, see, through chicanes and that, and if you're up a wee narrow road where there's a lot of grass and that, like, you know, they are slightly wider, so you have to be cautious of that. But I suppose by braking later, then you don't have to go as deep and through the chicane like the Escort. You'll be slicing around and out, like, you know.
Yes.
You can just go through it a wee bit steadier with the Darrian now.
Yeah.
They are, like they're a serious bit of kit, like, you know, the man that designed them, Tim Duffy, like, you know, it was a savage bit of engineering, like.
For sure,
yeah. My man Paul that put it together, like, that's like he done a savage job to the car, like, you know, the setup and the handling of that car is unbelievable, like, you know.
Because we should say Paul Reed, the guy that, you know, built the car for you. Yeah. Like Paul, you know, it's a fairly small business, family-run business, but like he is producing some fantastic cars. Like it's him that's the kind of the man behind Kevin Gallagher, the Eggs car as well, and numerous others cars. He seems to have a great knack for and a great eye for setting the car up and getting the best out of cars.
Yeah, Paul will be very he's so particular, like, you know, and he wouldn't put anything out until it does 100%, like, and that's the way, you know, he's run my cars probably 12 years there, you know, and I could never fault him. And I just think then, like, he's a big interest in the Darrians, he likes them, and he probably works well with Tim Duffy as well, like, you know, from Darrian. So I think the two boys be kind of, you know, in contact a lot about different stuff, like, you know, but he definitely has the Darrian well sorted, like, you know. You know, before I started rallying one, I did hear a horror story from them that, you know, they're snappy and they're, you know, you can't ride them like an Escort, and, you know, they're not great in bumps, but that's not the case at all. Like, you know, they are a proper rally car and you can do whatever.
And I suppose that is the hard work that the likes of Paul and Kevin and those guys have put in. They probably were originally like that, but it's the way they've been developed now, and especially over the last 5-6 years, they have become like such a fantastic tarmac car now.
Oh, they are, like, you know, and you know, well, I kind of probably I have 2 rallies done, but I've driven nearly in every conditions, like, you know, and I couldn't. I would, to be honest, if I thought they would work, I would nearly chance it in a forest. I think they would work in a forest. To be honest, if you plated them up well enough, like the Fastnet had everything there. The stages were very good stages,
Yes.
but they were very demanding. There were a lot of bumps on them. The surface was good, but then again, you had places then that you had very little grip, but they seemed to work on everything, like so they did.
Because the club put on a fantastic rally there at the weekend then too.
Oh, amazing! With
yeah, with
like
8
that was
stages. Yeah.
stages are like Cork Motor Club was unbelievable. Like when I used to go to Cork years ago. I haven't been like bar the Cork 20. I think it was about 7 or 8 years I was there since I was there before. But I used to do the West Cork Rally and the Escort even when I was in the 2 litre, and I used to love the whole. The atmosphere there with the Cork Motor Club, they do host everything so well. They put a lot of work in Sean and Moriarty was there, doing the interviewing and the whole thing gets well set up. But no, the stages were unbelievable now, so they were like, but just I don't know, I wouldn't say they were Darrian stages. On the one or two of them was grand, but I was good to even to get that. The bit of different surface, like to get used to it, like. But no, it was a great event, and I definitely will go back next year again. So I would.
Because it come hot and heels of the Cork 20, like, and for the club, for anybody in that area to produce 2 top quality events inside the matter of weeks too. I know they're 2 different clubs, but it was a huge effort by the people down there, wasn't it?
Oh, savage! Like unbelievable! Like and it was 2 very good events, and with good entries as well. Like so it was no, definitely. I think the Cork Rally doesn't maybe get recognised enough. Like for the way they hosted. Like, but no, definitely I'd be going back next year again. So I would.
Yeah, and for you, what it was time in the car. You had 2 days and top competition. You had 3 days over the 2 rallies. And top line competition, and in both events, like if you're racing Daniel McKenna and Daniel Breslin in the Cork 20, you're not going, you're going hard, and then at the weekend you're up against Barry Morris and Chris Armstrong, another 2 guys that'll push you hard as well too. So if you're matching them, you're doing okay.
Yeah, and them boys they're top of their game, and my eyes at the minute, like Chris Armstrong will be probably one of the fastest boys in the country when he's going right, and. So was Barry Morris there, he's proved it all year round. Them 2 boys weren't on top of the national for cutting back, but they're no, I kind of went down there. My expectations were going into the Fastnet. If I was 10 seconds behind them at any stage, I was going to be happy, And then we were matching times with Chris, and then I think the last 3 stages we were up in Barry, his times. I think. We might have took 1 out of him on 1 stage and then a second off in the last 2, and that was more than I even expected for it to be. So I was delighted coming home from all that.
Yeah, and I suppose another wee thing we should be touching on, Darrian, the aero at the front, which has been a sort of fairly recent addition to the Darrians. Was it Cork that one of them got knocked off? Was there a noticeable difference when the aero was kind of upset a wee bit?
Oh, big time, and it's actually funny how that got knocked off. I'll just tell you. I'll be honest about it. So, I would be when I was in the Escort, I was a big tire warmer going up onto the stage when you get through the time control. I'd be scrubbing her as hard, but I thought the Darrian would do the same thing. So I was up onto the stage anyway, and I was locking the brakes and came up out of this house, and I landed up out of their nearly driveway. I had a lay-by with blocks that none of to keep the cars off it. I landed on top of the blocks of the Darrian, and I broke the splitter, and there was 1 or 2 lads that saw it now thinking to party go, I hope nobody's on. So I broke the corner of the splitter. We lifted her. I think we actually had to jack her off the block or lift her off the block. So we went up to the start line anyway. And I was going down the first straight anyway. It was a fairly demanding straight, so it was. So I think we were flat in 6th gear, but the rest of the splitter just blew up in the air. but with the splitter gone, I could actually feel it on the stage.
Right.
I was on the braking and on the high corner speed. The car was kind of moving, you knew that something wasn't right. So luckily, Paul had a spare splitter in service, and when we went out the second run, probably didn't even drive the car as hard, and the times were different, and the whole car was settled again. So all these aerodynamics, like to do work, like they're there for a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not just a design, like
they're not just like looks pretty. They are there for a purpose.
Yeah. So no, like it just shows you like every wee thing counts in them cars. Like, like Kevin Galler obviously said to me before, like when he ever tapped the front of his or that, like the car does, even the wee fenders at the side, like if you break one of them off in a bale or anything, the car you'll upset them, like so you will. Jeez. So the whole idea now is to keep our noses clean and not to be
don't be burning your tires.
Yeah.
Like a man we've mentioned already, like Paul Reed, as you say, you've been with him now for 12 years. Like, turns out a fantastic car, and very rarely ever gives any mechanical issues.
No, like Paul would be. I suppose the big thing with Paul is he does most of the work himself. You could go out to Paul the night, maybe 9 or 10 o'clock, and he's in that garage, like.
Yeah.
So everything is probably checked over by himself over and over, and that's the big thing about. I'm not saying like if he had other lads, and the car wouldn't be right either, but he's very particular, like so everything is well checked over.
And he knows exactly what you want. You have full confidence you can step into that car and it'll be the way you want it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and no, he does, and I suppose he knows me long enough there now too as well. And I'm not the easiest on cars. I've given him plenty of grief over the years, like with coming on cars bumped and stuff hanging off it. But no, look at it. I appreciate having him, like and he's always there when he runs a good service. That's and hopefully we can keep going with him, like
Yeah, and then another man too that's been a big part of the story, and the man that sits beside you, Porrick O'Donnell too. Like Porrick has been with you through good times and bad times as well too.
He's a part of the whole team, like like when I started rallying, Porrick was the first man that sat on me, like believe it or not. And he fell onto this day, obviously, he's a busy man, he's his own business as well, and he's a farmer, so when it comes on to lambing season, I might miss him for a rally or two, but no, we really kind of work well together, like, and he can roar at me and say whatever, but we, we're nearly like a couple in the car at this stage. We can fall out and make back up again, but he's he's very good, and I trust Porrick, like he'll put the work into it, like and even on the recce and the night before the rally, going over DVDs and everything, like he definitely puts the effort into it, like and
yeah, because that's the way rallying has got now. It's not just a matter of rocking up on the day and hoping to go hard. Like there's a lot of work goes in beforehand.
Oh, a lot of work, like and especially if you want that, try to be at that competitive edge, like it's just down to memorizing the stages as much as you can, and making that corner that bit quicker, or watching the grip to brake later, like it's just there is so much work goes into it, like that people wouldn't even see, like it's just not all, as you say, it's not all about jumping into the car that morning, reading notes and driving to the note, like but no, it's the prep's a big thing there at the minute now.
And then
and Porrick is like he's very, very good, like he's top man at his job.
Yeah, for sure. And then I suppose before we finish up, the men that out in your near neighbours, the boys, what the purple pipes they're going through at the minute, like isn't it just fantastic the last few events?
It's amazing, like 3 out of the one house, like it's coming, one, 2 and 3 is coming, like Declan was very unfortunate, I suppose, at the weekend, like and it was a very bad spot that he got caught in, like I was chatting to him yesterday after rally, and I said if he wasn't caught there, one of us would have been caught there, because it was just one of them places you wouldn't have thought it was as bad as it was.
Yeah.
But no, the boys, like, and they're great lads as well, Declan and the two lads, like, they're and it's nice to see them up there, so it is.
Yeah. Because they put a lot of hard work into the business and into their rallying, and it's nice to see the rewards coming back from it as well.
Like 100%, like, and it is coming for them as well, and it's good to see it. And I'd say next year will be a big year for the three of them boys, so it will.
And what about yourself? Are you any thoughts on next year, or just wait and see kind of thing at this stage?
No, I think I'm gonna hopefully now, like everything going well work wise, and that we can do it financially. We'll definitely do the full national championship anyway. we'll probably mix in out off the tarmac one. Like, we'll definitely Donegal's our big thing, and maybe like West Cork as well. Like at the start of the year would be a good event to get the speed up. 2 days would be a big thing to to get over the belt for the national. So I haven't actually even laid out the calendar or saw what's on it right yet, but like that. My thing is the car is new now. It's fresh. I seem to be adapting well. The confidence is building up. So it'd be nice to be able to compete like at that level and on the top of the national, like mixing it with the boys if we can.
Thanks to Patrick McHugh there. And fantastic to hear about the Darrian. Like they really are something different out on the stages. I do love them. And then just one sort of notable, Kevin, I don't know if you'd spotted this. Keelan Grogan brought the Rally 3 Clio home in 12th place. I think that's a phenomenal result.
That's for sure, yeah. The debut of the Rally 3 Clio here in Ireland too. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting. And I wonder if he's got a wee A in next year if he's doing that now at this stage of the year. So yeah, interesting times ahead, and no doubt we'll do our best to keep up with all that's going on. So that's the latest episode of Crunching Gears, the Rally podcast. Please like, share, rate, subscribe, all those things make a huge difference. Until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
That's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.